You're listening to the Happiest Lives Podcast with Jill Lillard, episode number 96.
Welcome to the Happiest Lives Podcast, where you'll learn to think better, feel better, and become the woman God says you already are. Here's your host, Jill Lillard.
Welcome back to the Happiest Lives Podcast. I'm Jill Lillard, and I'm excited to wrap up this month's focus on spirit-led planning and execution. We've been talking about commitments, values, and what's truly important. I've shared time management strategies, but today we're going deeper into execution, how to be a finisher. Many of us start strong with good intentions. We're nearing the end of the first quarter of the year, and maybe you started your year with some good intentions for the year. Maybe you committed to a morning quiet time, sticking to a workout routine, or making time for regular date nights. But without even realizing it, you lost steam. Life gets busy. Resistance shows up. One day you wonder, why did I stop doing that? This happens because our brains are wired for comfort, efficiency, and avoiding pain. It's called the motivational triad. And while it serves a purpose, letting it guide us means we'll never finish what matters most. That's where your prefrontal cortex comes in. This part of the brain is responsible for planning, reasoning, and thinking ahead. It helps us think about our thinking, a uniquely human skill that allows us to act with purpose rather than reacting to discomfort. Successful people don't let their feelings dictate their actions. They engage their prefrontal cortex to focus on intentional follow-through. But even when we activate this part of our brain, there are still obstacles along the way, things that can derail our best efforts. Common obstacles come in the form of denial, justification, and excuses. We might tell ourselves things like, "It's not that important right now." This is denial. "I've been working so hard, I deserve a break." Justification. "I don't have time," or "I just don't feel like it." Excuses. These thoughts can feel valid in the moment, but they undermine the commitment you made to yourself. The good news, you can overcome these obstacles by anticipating them in advance and planning how you'll address them. This is how we activate our prefrontal cortex. So let's dive into 10 practical things you can do to finish strong. These aren't just abstract ideas, they're real strategies that, when applied, will help you stay the course and follow through on your plans with confidence. Number 1, clarify your why. Before you even start a plan, make sure you understand why you're doing it. This will help anchor you to your deeper purpose, especially when things get tough. Knowing the reason behind your goal creates a stronger emotional investment, which makes it easier to follow through. I think it's a good idea to review your why on a regular basis, reminding yourself why you're doing it. Number 2, make a plan and honor the plan. So we've already talked about setting clear goals and creating a plan of how it's going to happen, but the execution relies on honoring the plan that you've made. Define what steps need to be taken, and most importantly, stick to those steps, even when motivation fades. Consistency will build momentum. You don't have to be motivated to do it. Motivation comes later. Number 3, anticipate the obstacles. Think ahead about the challenges you might face, like the natural tendency toward denial, justification, or excuses. By identifying potential obstacles in advance, you can create strategies to overcome them. So, for example, denial. If you tell yourself it's not that important right now, remind yourself why this goal is worth pursuing. Justification. If you feel you deserve a break, acknowledge that rest is important, but remind yourself that consistent effort leads to long-term rewards. And excuses. If you feel you don't have time or just don't feel like it, break the task into smaller steps and commit to just one action. Often, starting is the hardest part. Tip number 4, process your emotions. Feelings of frustration, boredom, or self-doubt are common when pursuing a goal. Instead of resisting them, allow yourself to process emotion. So this is what we use in all my coaching programs. We use the heart scan process, which will help you identify why you're feeling the way you're feeling. What are you thinking that is causing the emotion? And then it will help you process through the emotion to open yourself up to it without resisting it or avoiding it. So then you can move into a thought that is going to better serve you. Remind yourself that emotions are temporary and they don't have to dictate your actions. Number 5, stay flexible to God's leading. So trusting God with your plans is important, but it doesn't mean abandoning your goals altogether when a new idea or direction comes up. That's why I ask God for wisdom. I ask Him to give me clarity on my plans, and then I trust that He is leading me. Sometimes He will interrupt my time, and there's something else that He wants me to do, but that's very different than just making excuses or looking for justifications to quit. So stay open to the Holy Spirit's guidance and be ready to adjust your path, but don't confuse this with quitting. Flexibility is key. Number 6, build self-trust. When you follow through on your commitments, you're building trust with yourself. This trust is vital for keeping momentum and ensuring that your plans continue even when they get difficult. I want to know that I can trust myself to do the things I say that I'm going to do. The more you stick to your word, the more confident you'll feel in your ability to finish strong. I've heard it said the only way that we fail is by quitting. And so when we can persevere, when we can keep getting back to it, even when we have fallen short, when we've fallen back, then we will succeed. We will be a finisher. Number 7, stay accountable. Find someone who can help hold you accountable, whether it's a friend, a coach, or a family member. Having someone to check in with can make a huge difference in maintaining focus and staying committed to your goals. So one of my gifts to the Gold members, which those are graduates of the Happiest Lives Academy who have moved on to VIP. So it means they went through this 5-month program, they graduated, and then they became a VIP member. And so they're part of a bigger group of all the Academy graduates, but I created another tier, if we want to call it that, for those who've been with me for 5 years. And that way, if you're in the VIP group, you have something to look forward to as you continue with the coaching program, the community, and the support that you receive ongoing as a graduate of the Happiest Lives Academy. And so for the Gold members, I've added an extra bonus coaching call, which is helping them stay focused on what their goals are. What are the intentions? What are the plans that they made at the beginning of the year? And then what are all the things that come up that get in the way? And so we meet together once a month to stay focused on the plans and the purposes that we believe God has laid out for us. Number 8, focus on the next step. Rather than getting overwhelmed by the big picture, break down your goal into smaller, actionable steps. Focus on completing one task at a time rather than stressing over how far you have to go. This makes it easier to see progress and stay motivated. I know when I have a big project ahead of me or something that looks complicated or something that I have to read that has a lot of words, I can get really overwhelmed and I just kind of want to shut down. But if I break it down to one little thing at a time, it makes it so much easier. So if I'm reading a document that has lots of words on it, I'm like, okay, I just have to read one sentence at a time, one paragraph at a time, and then I can understand what it is that I am reading. Or if there's a lengthy process, such as FAFSA, applying for student loans for my children, that is something that can be overwhelming to me. But if I break it down into one step, that will make it easier. Or better yet, I ask my husband to do it. Number 9, celebrate progress. Recognizing and celebrating even the small wins along the way helps maintain momentum. Don't wait until the end to acknowledge how far you've come. Every step forward is a victory and a reminder that you're on the right track. I know it's really easy for me to see everything that's ahead, the things I haven't done, but when I pause and look at what I did accomplish, that is so motivating for me because it's easy to overlook those things and discount those things. But taking a look at what you did do for the day can be very inspiring. And lastly, number 10, persevere through discomfort. Discomfort is part of the process, whether it's physical, emotional, or mental. Learning to persevere through discomfort is essential for finishing strong. Remind yourself that discomfort doesn't last forever, but the satisfaction of completion will. I literally had a workout this week that I genuinely was crying through the workout. Tears were coming down my face as I persevered and lifted those weights. I wanted to stop so badly, but I pushed my way through, keeping my eyes on the prize, knowing that afterward I would thank myself. And I feel like working out, it's such a good experience to have, because as you persevere, even in like a 30-minute workout that pushes you a little bit, to me, it's a little slice of life. If I say this 30 minutes is representative of my life and that there's going to be the hard parts, but then afterwards it feels rewarding and that I have that good feeling that I did it and that the workout eventually ends, I can look at that and compare it to some things in my life that are actually the same way. And that helps me persevere through the discomfort. There are some great scriptures that remind us to keep our eyes on the prize, to persevere, to keep our eyes on the Lord, to run the race, casting off all that hinders, to strenuously contend with the energy that Christ places within us. As you apply these strategies, you'll start to notice how much more capable you are of following through on your plans. And when you feel weak, the Lord is your strength. And when you feel like you falter and you fall back and you didn't honor your plans the way you wanted, that's okay. Learn and grow from that situation and just do better the next time. And ask the Lord to strengthen you and to help you move forward in the way that He desires. And when you make plans, it doesn't mean you're married to them the rest of your life. You can make plans and have points where you reevaluate, is this plan working for me? Or am I just not working the plan? And if not, why? Get the information so you can grow through the process. Remember, this is not about perfection. It's about perseverance. It's about staying in the race, trusting that God is with you, and relying on His strength when yours runs out. Thank you guys for joining me today. Let's be finishers. Let's honor the plans God gives us and execute them with grace, trust, and unwavering faith. As we close today's episode, I want to remind you that finishing strong doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey, and you don't have to walk it alone. The tools and strategies we've talked about today are just the beginning, and I want to continue supporting you as you become the woman God says you already are. If you're ready to dive deeper and get more guidance on this journey, I invite you to visit my website, myhappyvault.com. There you'll find a collection of tools, resources, and coaching programs designed to help you take the next step in your personal growth and relationship with God. Thank you so much for joining me today. I believe in your potential, and I can't wait to see what God has in store for you as you press forward in His strength. Until next time, keep living with joy, faith, and purpose. Quick question. Have you grabbed your free mini course, The 4 Things You Must Do to Become the Happiest Wife? I'd love to give you 4 simple tips plus a free workbook to help you process your relationship and find greater satisfaction. Sign up today at myhappyvault.com and I'll show you how to change your marriage without the exhausting work of trying to control your husband. And if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend who needs encouragement. See you next time.